Hi everyone, welcome to the third episode of Satishtalks. Today I'm going to talk about mastering tough conversations in meetings and negotiations. See, most of the tough conversations you might have need not necessarily be with force. Most of the people win conversations not by volume but by having clarity, proper timing, and having a proper tone. I have a short 5-step formula again for having tough conversations. The first one is preparation. Preparation is not about what data you have, what statistics you have collected. It's about just 5 minutes before you enter the meeting room or the negotiation table. You clearly have a thought process consciously. What is the problem that you're trying to solve? Who are the key decision makers in the room? What are the non-negotiables? And what are the compromisations that you can handle? These are the 4 things. I call it preparation, 5 minutes before. And coming to the second point is about the tone. Whenever you're asking a question in the room, you always be soft so that you have clarity in thought and so that you ensure the other people around understand your point of view. Not only that, sometimes you need to have an affirmative tone when people are crossing the boundaries, so you understand what are the non-negotiables, and that becomes the boundary. So you need to be very firm in your tone in those aspects. And sometimes when you want others to reflect upon your questions, say for example, what do you think of this option A or option B, right? Sometimes you may need to pause so that the thought process runs in the room. So pause is also very necessary. And the third one, what I call is timing. Obvious, right? Never derail the meeting. Be conscious of when the meeting ends. If there is any deviations that people might end up in arguments, so you always come back to the main agenda and keep the lower priority at the end of the meetings. The more conscious you are in time, you will end up having clearer outcomes. And the fourth point after timing is about listening and affirmations. Most of the meetings, when people feel that you are being heard of, you will obviously have a calmer environment and people will understand, and there won't be any rude behaviors in the room. So listening is very important, and affirmation is also as important as listening. Say for example, if somebody asks, points up something, you affirm that yeah, that's a valid point, or you confirm, yeah, that's been noted, we can come back later, or yeah, that's something that we need to take it up in the next meeting, or if it's really important for that meeting, yes, you can take that on board. So affirmation at regular intervals also matters to take people on your side. And the fifth important point is authoritativeness. When to use it? You should never use it unless people are crossing the boundaries, unless you think you're derailed in the meeting, that it's been deviated to something else. You You should be authoritative enough to bring back focus into the meeting to the main agenda. Say, for example, you have a deadline, you need to be authoritative and tell this is the deadline and this is something we cannot breach, or you choose an option and be affirmative. Yes, we are going with option A, not B, and yeah, let's take a final call. So something like this is very important. So it's preparation, tone, timing, listening and affirmation, and the last one is being authoritative. So including, I would say tough conversations need not necessarily be tough. It can always be, won by preparations, having clarity, having the proper time management, and yeah, that's Satish Talks for this weekend. See you next week. Have a great weekend. Bye bye.